Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm hungry.
Me too.
Welcome. We're so glad to have you. We got your water set up here.
Oh, thank you.
And we were just having conversation about the community as it stands. I wanted to give you a proper introduction, and I know you're very busy, so we thank you for taking this moment with us. But we know that you were elected in 2022 and got into office 2023. You left the nursing field just to do what you're doing now. You were in the medical field for 10 years, and then you decided you wanted to do more for your community, and you said, listen, I'm gonna put that past life behind. You went into business. After going into business, you became a councilwoman, correct? So
yes, I am.
That's awesome. So thank you so much for your heart. You are a friend to CTN Life. I remember a while ago, the pastor of the Church of Truth, Elder Miller, he reached out and said, y'all had a good conversation. It was like, if you could please get these sidewalks fixed. He said, if you get elected. And you say, I promise you, if I get in there, I'm going to get these sidewalks. And you got the sidewalks fixed. So we appreciate, we see that you're doing things in the community. And we wanted to take a moment, and I reached out to you because we try to interview people that we really feel like want to make a difference. And I'm no judge of saying who does and who does not, but we have to be leery of who our leaders are, right?
Understandable.
And I can see that you want something to break. I can feel your heart. And that's what I said when I reached out to you. I said, I can feel your heart, and I want to interview you on CTN Life. So thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I just want to get to know you a little bit more. I want the world to get to know. I've obviously done my research, and that was off the top of the dome. Impressive. All right. However, I want to ask you, what mentors or even experiences that you've had in the past that would cause you to leave, everything you went to school for, to do what you're doing now?
What are you asking? What caused me to leave the healthcare field?
Yeah, like what experiences in particular? I know that generally there's probably a cause, but usually there is something that says this is a call to action. I need to do more. What?
I really wouldn't say that anything really caused me to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very still passionate about healthcare and just about being able to take care of someone that's ill or someone that needs help. Just being a light for somebody that is walking in the door that is fighting with a health issue. And actually, I miss that.
Does any of that bleed over into being a councilwoman? Because you just kind of like that caring nature, you know what I mean?
And it does. What I'm learning from a council standpoint is politics is very dirty.
Lord.
And I always tell people every day that I'm not a politician. I just truly fight for the people.
I'm a servant.
Right.
I'm not a politician.
Right.
I feel it.
And what I'm also learning is that, you just really have to stay true to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay true to, your beliefs and just show up every day as you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this, as a Metro Council member, this role is part-time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not part-time. Really, it's full-time when you really, really care. I spend my weekends, sometimes, I may get up in the middle of the night if one of my constituents, if they've had a loss of a family member. I remember when I first came in, me and Major Miller, who is the major of the division, and, he didn't want to, contact me every time that there was a homicide in my district. And he couldn't understand why I wanted that, because nobody has ever asked that of him. And he was just like, no, I'm not doing that. And
he thought that maybe it was inconvenience.
right. He was just like, no, why do you want But then, he understood why I wanted to know. And now we've formed a very close relationship, because he's like, prior to you, nobody really cared who was dying in their districts. But for me, it's important to me, because you never know when it's going to be your family member, your brother, your sister. So you don't take for granted. I like showing up, for people when they need me. And I just feel like that I was elected to serve and just not sit.
Right. I understand that. That makes sense. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. I want to ask you, though, is there anything about your current role that maybe shocked you going into it that you didn't anticipate?
Well, one of the biggest things that I've learned is, politicians, it's really not about the community that they really supposed to serve. It's not about it's not about the people, and keeping in your heart and in your mind every day that it's really who it's about.
Did that
I've
shock
seen,
you to walk into that?
like, because I'm like, what? And I've even seen some people, vote the way that their, constituents want them to vote, but tell everybody else they don't care how they vote. For me, if I'm voting a certain type of way, I'm going to advocate to my colleagues to vote collectively.
That's right.
But I would tell you the biggest challenge is, and people feel like that I work really well, and I'm the Democratic caucus chair, right? But as the Democratic caucus chair, I show up as me every day effortlessly. And just being me, I work really well, not just with the Democrats, but with the Republicans. And I've found that they don't come west of 9th Street. So, what I use is, I use that to my advantage. And it's not that I'm a Republican or I'm flipping sides. What you don't experience, you don't know.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So I go straight to the Republicans and I say, hey, look, I need this from you.
That's right.
My community needs to see this.
That's right.
This will help remove a barrier. So when you see $7 million invested in Algonquin Park, that's been an underserved area for years, and when you see millions of philanthropy dollars and taxpayers' dollars going to open up a library like Parkland Library that's
Right.
been closed for decades, that's me advocating across the aisle. So they can vote alongside the Democrats. But the most craziest things is I'm beginning to see, even from my side, it's like, oh, she's getting too much shine, or she's getting too much done. Sometimes we become our own worst enemy.
Absolutely.
When help me work for the common goal, because when I get things in my district, everybody's district comes
That's
and
right.
utilizes
That's
it, right?
right. That's right.
So and I want to be a vessel not just for my district, but for everybody's district.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't really see that a lot. It's always, oh, you get more shine than me, or you're on the
nonsense.
news more than me. And it's just, I feel like that when I'm asked for an interview in any capacity, even if it's the news, I'm bringing awareness to the people.
That's right.
Because what they don't see, they don't know. If they're not coming to Metro Council meetings, they don't know what's going on. So if you have to educate and give them the knowledge that they need, and knowledge is power. So I feel like for the power to be in the community's hands, you have to feed them with the knowledge that they need to get the things that they want.
That's right. I like that. And since you brought it up, right? And we love what is some of the things that you just named, the state-of-the-art library that's been open, the state-of-the-art equipment that is at the swimming pool, those daggone slides is something from an amusement park. It looks like a beach front, and I said, Lord have mercy, Algonquin done went into a resort. I said, go on now, Tammy. And I was very proud to see those things, and I know that you've seen, I've shared it to my social media over and over again, saying this is a good thing. This is a good thing. How does it make you feel to have that accomplished, though?
Well, I'll say this. The most biggest thing is seeing things that you've worked for come to fruition. You know, and I always
And that you promised. Don't
yes,
forget that.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. You had Mary Woolridge, you
Yeah.
had Denise Bentley,
Yeah.
you had Keisha Dorsey. You know, they really fought hard to try to make that pool come to fruition. I just went a different angle when I got in the seat. You know, I didn't want to continue to put Band-Aids on a pool. You know, that area has been underserved for so long. I wasn't standing down. I'm very passionate and I'm very persistent. You know, a lot of people say, oh, she's an angry black woman. Or
That's
absolutely
fine.
not.
Yeah.
You know,
That's your
I fight for the,
opinion.
and I fight. And that pool, it's not what I wanted to see. I took everything that the community wanted to see, you know, and we made that happen. You know, so that slide, that basketball, the rock, everything that's there was a vision that the community put together, you know, and it happened. And I wasn't going to stop until it did.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Love that. Want to switch gears just a little bit, and I want to talk about some of the challenges to your current role. And having said that, you are serving a community that is undervalued. People feel undervalued. They feel underserved, and a lot of that can make people feel pessimistic, like things are not going to change. I want to ask you, if you could prioritize one thing, what is the most significant thing that if you could accomplish, if you could see happen in this community before you leave your office, what would that be?
That would be changing the gun laws. You know, when I first got in office, I tried to write some legislation myself and Jeff Hudson, who is a Republican. I found out that those that are affected by gun violence, the pin that's in the gun, they recycle it and they recycle that gun. You know, like let's say if someone was affected by a homicide, gun violence, that same gun, you know, after the case is over, is put right back into the streets. So I tried to write some laws removing the pin from the gun, so it couldn't be resold again, and the state just kind of threw it in the trash.
So the legislation.
Yes, yes. So just being able to change the gun laws, you know, and just making sure that we're just as accountable as we tried to hold the police. You know, I know that, you know, we're like, you know, it's white police officer killed my black son. You know, we say that way too often. And, you know, of course, I'm definitely going to do everything that I need to do in my role to hold that officer accountable, right? You know, but I also want to, you know, hold accountable the black boy 3 doors down, the kid killed that person's son too, right? That, you know, it's the same thing, and we, you know, as blacks, we don't want to do that. You know, it's you know, if people say, you know, Black Lives Matter, you know, I want it to matter. It has to matter to us first, right? So,
come on now. I appreciate
so the guns,
that.
I think the guns that's out here, it's so many youth. I want the parents to be in tune to their kids' social media page, their Instagram pages. Their kids, you know, the first thing that a lot of our parents are saying is, oh, my son wouldn't do that. And then as soon as you look on their Instagram page, they 13, 14, 15-year-olds are the ones that's holding the guns, right? So it's just being in tune with our youth, being in tune with our kids, and then just from a Metro Council and the mayor that we have holding us accountable, just trying and holding your state legislators accountable, because you know, like the state is where those gun laws come in at. You know, just trying to work with them to change the gun laws, because if those don't change, you know, we're in trouble. So if I can just tap into that just a little bit more, and my next 2 years in this seat, because I don't run until 26, 25 to 26, just tapping in to try to write more laws and just working with state representatives to try to change those gun laws and encourage people to run for any of those state seats that are open. Because right now we don't have a lot of Democrats
Right.
on the state levels,
true.
and Republicans. They like those guns, but they're killing our youth. They're killing our kids. So just working down that path, moving forward. If I can make a change, I think it would impact the entire city.
I love that. Thank you for that. I do want to dive into something. You said a lot. And one of the things that you said was that the community is outraged when we are shot by a white cop, but we're not just as outraged as when we are shot by our own kind. Who starts that though? Where's that outrage come from? Because it doesn't take much. If we're shot by a cop, it don't take much. But I'm sure you've been affected by the violence. I just lost a family member. Who gets out there? Who starts that? Who moves first to make that enough to be outraged about?
Well, I think it's a lot of movement, but it's the narrative. I think it's the narrative, like stop the violence, period. I have a passion for seniors, and I have a lot of, and also have a lot of passion for the youth, right? But the youth quality of life, what they have left, right, is they shouldn't have to live in fear. They can't even sit on their porches.
Yeah.
It used to be where they could sit on their porch, feel comfortable, and they could correct the youth.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they scared to say something to them.
That's very true.
You can't even say nothing to somebody's child because it's either you have the parents saying, don't say nothing to my child, or you have that youth ready to cuss, and shoot up the house.
Oh, that's very true.
So, it's
a culture shift.
yeah, definitely.
A culture shift.
Definitely.
I want to ask you about the other half of what you said. You said it's time for us to get involved and hold our legislators accountable. How? Because a lot of people are uneducated as to how to do that. What would you say that your constituents should do to hold them accountable? How do we do that?
Well, the first thing I'd say is you got to know who your council person is. And you got to get out
true.
and vote.
Yeah.
Right? When I ran for Metro Council, we go by and the most important is the primary. The primary is the most important. Well, of course, coming up, it's about to be nonpartisan. So it doesn't matter if you're Republican, you're not going to have a D by your name or R by your name, which is good because if you're not out here and if you're not visual, then when somebody looks on,
you're going to see a D and R.
You're not going to see D or R. You're just going to see a name, right? You're not going to know if this person is a Democrat or if this person is a Republican.
So you gotta know what's going on.
You gotta know, and really, the people in these roles, they gotta be out here, right? You just can't start, your name gotta be out here, right? So I'd say one, find out who your council person is. Build a relationship with your council person.
That's right.
For me, I drive through alleys, and plus, I'm always telling people, I'll pull up. And I don't mean that in a defensive way. I mean that wholeheartedly, effortlessly. I'm going to pull up to your house. If you call my office, if you want to talk to me, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to talk to you. I'm very visual. I'm very passionate. And it's either in your council person or it's not. Right? And I get a lot of slack from my colleagues sometimes, go sit down somewhere, right? Because you making our jobs harder because you have people in our districts that feel like that we should be out there, But let me say this, my district may expect more than my colleague in the East End or my colleague out in Newburgh. I know what my community expects from me, and that's who I work for.
That's right.
Right? So I don't care if it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. My number is, I give my number to any and everybody. I just love what I do.
Yeah.
So, but I also have got to, I've been learning how to also create barriers so I can stay healthy. You understand what I'm saying? Because
That's
if
right.
I'm no good
That's right.
for me,
You can't
I'm no
serve.
good for the people that I serve.
That's right.
So it's just now, I'm learning that, I lost my mother like 6 months ago, right? And she was my champion. She was, it's not easy for me to take knowledge from people, and it's just not, because people will lead you, and it's not easy,
And it's not
for
in the right
people.
direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my mother led me. So right now, I'm like, okay, like every time that I did an interview or I went and spoke in front of the news, I always relied on my mother. Anytime my child was like, hey, my mom, Greg, go do this interview real quick. It's about da 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 da. And she'd be like, okay, remember this. So she was she was what I needed.
She's your
And
foundation.
yeah,
I know that.
and now I don't have that no more.
Yeah.
So, but it put me more in my faith. It made me rely more and jump in my faith and rely on my heavenly Father from up above.
Amen.
And I really should have had him before my mother. So it made me really get. It made me to start protecting, because I was just out here. You know what I'm saying? Any and everybody. I can't let everybody jump on my spirit.
That's
right.
right.
Because everybody ain't meant for that.
That's
So
right. That's right.
So I'm learning. I'm still learning a lot. Since I've been on the journey without her, right? But I can say that I'm true to when I canvassed. I knocked on everybody's door that voted in the primary. If I didn't knock on your door, it was because you don't vote in the primary, right? If you voted in the regular election, I wasn't worried about you. I had to get to the primary so I could win the primary first, right? But I will say this: the same energy that I had when I was running is the same energy that I've had even still after I ran. That same energy when you knock on people's doors and when you ask them, you got to keep that up.
That's right.
And when people are not keeping that up, you got to pay attention to that, right? Because if I can knock on your door and ask you to vote for me, then it shouldn't be no reason, if I'm still in this seat, that you shouldn't be able to call me and say, hey, Tammy, I need you. Hey, Tammy, it's trash in my backyard in the alley. Hey, Tammy, they ain't picked my trash up. My job, and I think
You're talking accountability.
Yeah, and I think people get this wrong, too. They think I'm supposed to be out here, and I serve 30,000 constituents. They think I'm supposed to be out here riding around just looking for stuff. No, I need the
direction.
People to come and be like, hey, Tammy, they ain't picked up trash. I'm going to hold the departments accountable. Right? I'm going to hold 311 accountable.
Give me a moment and tell everybody how they can get in contact before we continue, because you said, I need y'all to tell me what's going on.
Yes.
So how can they contact you?
So you can call my office at 502-574-1101. I have an awesome legislative assistant.
Yes, you do.
I would not be
I like
who
her a
I
lot.
am without her. Shout out to Olivia Bennett.
Yes, Olivia.
You're only as good as the person that represents you, and she represents me. So
can you get that number one more time?
502-574-1101.
All right, y'all. So y'all heard it. She's not riding around town talking about, oh, there's a pothole. Okay. You got to call. You got it. And that's part of giving the community a voice.
Yes.
I want to ask you this. Just a few more questions, and then
Okay.
we're going to get into good stuff. Some fun stuff. There is an obvious increase of crime in the Parkland neighborhoods. Seems like almost every other day. It is starting to come right up this street here, and it didn't used to be that way, but we've had so many homicides right on this street. What do you think might be the cause of just the consistent behavior shifts?
The youth. And let me say this. I know you said that we're dealing with crime right on this street, but let me be clear. I live right on this street.
Right next to us.
Yeah. I live
Don't
right
tell
on
me
the
that, Tammy, because
Yeah,
I
just
will
said a
be
house,
over there. You
on
said you'll
this-
pull up, I
yeah,
pull up.
Right over here. Yeah. So I would say, and there's been several on this street.
Yes.
But one thing that I will say is that the police the homicide detectives, you know, they have so many cases.
They do.
Right?
Number one.
And if we don't help them, you know, if we don't help them solve some of these crimes, if we don't allow them to tap in to our ring cameras,
we need a snitch.
if we don't, it is what it is.
Say
We won't solve
it
crimes.
like it is.
I mean, it is what it is. We got to start, because if not, then, you know, the homicide, it just goes on their desk and it sits there and it piles up with dust.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
So, you know, if you got ring cameras, if you got cameras, I got cameras all around my house.
You know that's
right.
If
they come and ask me for my cameras, here you go. Better yet, LMPD has and I'll get that to you later.
Okay.
They have it to where they can tap into your cameras.
Stop it.
If something go on, they already got it. So, you know,
That's
it's
good stuff.
Yes.
Good to know.
So, if you know little Johnny down the street, even though he's your friend's son, and what I've found out is if there's abandoned houses on your streets and you see a lot of youth going into those houses and hanging out and stuff like that, y'all got to call. Because what I'm finding out now is that, I think it was Garland, I think it was Hemlock, you know, I canvassed that area once the shooting happened in the park, right? A lot of those kids are running from the park straight through those outlets that go into those streets. And there was a lot of abandoned houses. And what they were beginning to do is leave their guns in those abandoned houses. So if there's an abandoned house, you have to call. Let me know so I can call codes, have them come and clearboard those houses, and it'll keep the youth from going in those houses, hiding those guns, right? Keeping up with abandoned houses, holding your neighbors accountable for if they're not keeping their grass cuts. We have to take our neighborhoods back, right? So I've been wanting to start a neighborhood watch, right? And I don't know. I think that this would be a great place to start holding those neighborhood meetings.
That's fine.
Not just on Cypress, but Cypress, Olive,
Yes.
going all the way down. I think that would be something, that we could do it. And I found out that I could not start it because I'm a council
So
person.
it has to be. That's
Right.
good. That's good.
Right.
That's good to know.
So if that, I would support it. If it's you guys want to start like a nonprofit, or if it's a nonprofit
that
wants
starts
to
a
start it,
watch.
yes, we can meet right here. I would definitely be in support of that. I think that would be great for the neighborhood, and we can kind of take the neighborhood back. Which I think that if it's we have people that move in our neighborhoods that we don't even know. So if you start knowing, then people can start picking up the phone saying, or somebody just walked in your backyard, or somebody just cut through your grass, or we can take our neighborhoods back. But you know, though you just cannot be scared. They got to know, oh no, we can't do it. That's Miss Betty's house. You know, she gonna tell. If you don't have the youth to say, no, we can't do it, they ain't scared.
That's right.
We gotta put some fear back into them. Like, okay, right?
I love it. What you are saying, you are kind of the mascot of the voice of the people. The people have to speak, and you will be there 10 toes down. But until the people do something, it kind of ties your hands.
Well, and one of the things is, like some of the departments, the smell. So the smell with MSD, right?
Yes.
So MSD was like, Councilwoman, you're just going extremely too hard on us. And, can we get some data on who's all calling your office, right? Like codes, they'll say, well, Councilwoman, we've been getting a tremendous amount of calls from you. So now I'm beginning to keep data. So that's why I say call my office, because now I have some of those departments that just feel like that I'm targeting them.
Get that number out one more time.
502-574-1101. Now, if I'm not your council person, I will direct you to your council person.
Right. That's right.
Yes, that's imperative.
I love that. Giving the power back to the people.
Yes.
This is so important because, as I said, the community is in some way become pessimistic. They're saying, listen, we got to live with the smell. We got to live with 1,000 possums and rats running around our neighborhood, and we got to live with trains that stop on the tracks in the middle of the street.
Well, and I'll say that's state. That's not local.
So that's
yes,
state.
I've tried.
Okay.
I've tried with that. The train comes over here in the East End. It ain't going to land on the horn, but over here when it comes, it's at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, right? I've already addressed that. That complaint goes to Gerald Neal,
I love it.
Senator
Love
Neal,
it.
and then the lights going around the expressway, right? That's a state issue,
Okay.
right? So it's just certain things that is above me, and what I try to do is I try to direct them to who they need to contact to get those calls in, so they can get it taken care of if I
Isn't
can.
this wonderful information? Thank you so much. It's good information. So, thank you for that. Now I want to talk about some fun stuff. So as we said, the park is open over there. We're going to now, right, take our neighborhoods and make sure that we are reporting what is happening. We're going to be participants, so we're going to make sure that we tie ourselves to the police, hold everybody accountable, and I love that. But what are some exciting things that you have coming up that you want the community to know about?
Okay. I have Jazz in Algonquin Park.
What?
Yes, I did it last year.
Wait a minute, break that down. What's that look like?
Jazz in Algonquin Park. I did it last year, and I had at least 50 or 60, I would say, seniors over 55 that showed up.
Is this live music?
Yes,
Or what? Really?
Yes. This year, and what I did was I really enjoyed Jazz at Central Park.
Okay.
And I felt like, why come we can't have
Bring
this
it
right here in
here.
our
Bring it
neighborhood?
down there, yeah.
Why we gotta go way up there? So I did it last year, and it was awesome. It was phenomenal. So we got that coming up. I'm excited about
When's
that.
it start?
I gotta get the date for
Okay,
you. I'm
all
not
right.
for certain on the
We're
date.
gonna have you back. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
definitely. Yes,
All right.
yes. And these dates, it's definitely gonna happen.
Okay.
But I'm not accurate on the dates.
Okay.
But I'll get you a lineup
Gotcha.
on the dates. We're gonna be having a peaceful pool party,
All right.
sponsored by the ACE Project.
Nice.
Rose Smith. We got that coming up. I think that's June. I think it's July the 13th. I'm not for sure on that day.
Okay.
Also going to have another community day where I allow, where I think that's June the 19th. Don't hold me to that either. Where
It's an
I
important day
allow
now.
another 600 community members to get in the pool. That is sponsored by myself, Shamika Purse-Wright, Ken Herndon, and Donna Purvis, and J.P. Leninger, because all our districts border.
They do.
Yeah, and we don't even check zip codes or any of that. We allow anybody to come. Where we do, the pool opens at 12. You stay in the pool from 12 to 2. And then we close it down for 30 minutes, and then from 2:30 to 5. So we allot people 300, one set, 300 another set to get in the pool. We serve 300 people for free. We have all type of vendors. We have face painting, balloon decorations, line dance. It was really, really nice. We have Parks and Recreations come out. They come out. They do kickballs, sack racing. We have bouncies for the kids. We got that coming up. Also we have Little League football and cheer that started now. Everything with football and cheer is absolutely free. We don't charge a registration fee.
Okay.
We don't charge anything for uniforms, equipment.
Nice.
And that's kids aging from 5 to 14.
I know some linebackers at 5 years old right now.
Send them over there. Send them over there to Algonquin. Practice starts at 6 o'clock. It's
Sweet.
from 6 to 8. What else do I have going on?
I mean, that's a lot.
I'm trying to do more. I feel like
I love it.
We got a lot of programming. We got office for, it's called Prevention Violence now. They're going to be coming over to Algonquin working with the youth this summer. I think I've sponsored, had my hand in the dirt bowl a little bit.
Okay.
That's Donna Purvis's district.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit everywhere.
Well,
Anywhere where my expertise is needed, or anywhere the people call for me at, that's where I'm gonna be at.
She's there. I love it. Well, we got a little gift for you.
Oh,
And we thank you. You see my community outreach shirt. So we have a community outreach.
Oh, thank you.
Bringing unity.
I can't wait to represent.
All right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So let me ask you all this.
Yes.
How can I support you all?
I think that's a
how
good question.
can I be how can I be a vessel for you all? Just whatever you need from me.
These are your constituents right here. They all live in this neighborhood.
Okay.
So if anybody would like to stand and introduce yourself and give Tammy what she's looking for. How can she be a vessel for you?
I'm Brother Isaac. I'm with the Community Outreach. I love what you're saying about a community watch. I think that's an excellent idea. I love how you're doing, it's talking about the smell down here in the rooms. What we're experiencing here, that a lot of times when we call, we feel like we're not heard, because their it feels like the focus is elsewhere. Or like you say, the response down here is not necessarily what it could be. But even just what you're saying about sharing cameras, because that could be part of a community watch. Or even if you're not really willing to, walk out there and say, hey, this person's doing this, maybe you could share your camera.
Right. If they share their camera, they don't even gotta ask. It's there.
It's
they
there.
can they can go down and be like, okay, we share cameras with this person.
Yeah. And what if they're see, a lot of people are afraid of cameras, but it helps. It helps because especially if you feel like the government is going to look at you. That I know
That's
I
a
feel
real
that.
fear.
That's a real fear. Like the problem is with all these cameras that they're going to be watching us and trying to get at us. But if we have someone who we feel confident in that's going to advocate for us on the inside dealing with the government, then I'd be more willing to have my camera, be used, because I know that if something weird's going on, Tammy's going to be there to say what's happening.
Right.
And that makes a difference to me, so that I feel like I can be involved that way.
That's right.
Awesome.
So I like what
love
you're
that.
saying, and I like the energy, being willing to be of service, going where you're needed. You talk about your mama and the person. That's so important, because we all have a mama, and it ties it really into it was really real. It's dealing with your faith and relying on your Heavenly Father. We need to be in communication with one another. We need to.
So what are you asking of her?
Yeah. So I'm asking of you to come back to our show. Do it again.
But I don't listen.
Yeah.
It don't even got to be a show.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I can just come back.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I can come back to the show anytime you want me to, right? What I really want to, what I want
Of
to
a
see
constituent.
is
What do you need?
Like
Yes.
I want, like a lot of these people that's up in the next time I come back, bring a neighbor.
That's right.
Because that is what is going to help reduce. Do y'all not know that, like we got a representative that sits on the We Are board, right? I don't even know her. I've never even seen this lady. We just do. And for me, I'm like, who are you talking to? Right? So I, like we can't just have,
Just people, bodies. It
for them to go pick out who they want.
That's right.
That's going to do their work.
No.
Or that's going to carry what they want to see.
That's right.
Right? So holding people accountable that are in those that sits on those boards. That's vital to your community too.
It is.
I'm learning that.
It is.
People that sit on that We Are board, the changes. I sit on the board, but see, I sit on the board as a liaison for Metro government. You have somebody that sits on that board for Parkland.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
I would love for her to see if anybody know her. Right, that's
I
another
don't
thing.
know.
Nobody does,
What is
right?
her name?
I don't even know her name. I
There it
don't
is.
even know where she live. But I'm just saying, like, holding people accountable. So when we want to see things in our areas happen, it goes. They get that money from the We Are.
That's right.
Right? I mean, I'm just, like
You
we
being
want
for
to
real.
know
You
who's
being real.
representing us.
That's right.
Boards are important, right? But again, like, hold me accountable. Hold the representatives that sit on these boards from our neighborhoods. But y'all, I want a close And let me say something else.
Go ahead.
When they say, "Oh, it was a homicide in Parkland," or sometimes it ain't even over here. It be way over here, and they consider that as Parkland.
No, I've seen that.
Right?
I've seen that.
So, but I will say the crime has increased.
Yeah.
It has increased.
It has.
Just like right around here, right?
Yes.
But also the neighborhood has changed. I would also encourage people to don't sell their homes. Gentrification is coming. But it only can happen if we sell our homes. Encourage your neighbors, don't sell your house.
You're telling the
Hold
truth.
on to it.
Yes.
And just getting people, I wouldn't mind coming back more just for neighborhood meetings.
That's right.
Going around and canvassing the area, see what people's needs are, seeing if we can be a help, if and then if 1 week, if we got regular people coming, let's say that Miss Jones didn't show up this week. Well, nobody knew that Miss Jones was sick because nobody visited her. She's 80 years old. She ain't really got no family. We can pick somebody that goes around.
That's right.
We got to be like a family.
That's
right.
it.
I think that's what we've lost.
We've lost a lot of that.
We've lost a lot of that.
I can't go next door and get any sugar anymore. It doesn't exist.
So it's just getting that back, and just being, I want to be able to keep everybody in tune.
That's right.
And like I'm going to tell y'all, I'm not up for election. So I'm not, and I know I do what I'm supposed to do. So I ain't worried about getting the votes, right? Because the day that I'm not working the way I tell y'all that I'm going to work, then I'm going to go on and get on out of here myself. Y'all ain't got to de-seat me because I'm going to de-seat myself. When God tells me I need to move on, I'm going to move on. And let somebody else come on and see if they can do better than me.
I got two more. Give me two more constituents. What would you like to see from Tammy? Oh, and then.
I don't know if you've ever dealt with the water company at all, but like the water pressure, at least in our house, is very low. Like if you are trying to have one sink running here, and we have a big house with multiple bathrooms and everything, you can't do anything else. There's not enough pressure to do laundry and turn on a sink. And we've gone to the water company, had them to check everything. They said everything's fine, everything's normal. But we're not experiencing that as being normal.
Okay. Now, is that something you experienced as well?
No, what I want you to do is I need for you to call my office on Monday, okay? Okay, so this is the part that I hold you accountable for. Call my office on Monday. Give Olivia your address. Okay. Tell her what you're experiencing, and then we're going to get in contact with the water company for you. Okay. And we're going to tell them that is not normal. Okay. And then we're going to ask that they come back out and recheck.
That's right.
Okay. And then let's see what comes from there.
Love
okay.
it. Love it.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, let's see if I can help you that way. Now, if you don't call,
it starts the process.
Right. And then I would love for you, she's going to ask you probably what your email is. And then when she asks you what your email is, I want you to submit to our newsletter. It also has everything that we're doing. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. We have one more.
There is a rodent problem in this. You have possums, you have raccoons, you have rats, you have groundhog, and they roam through our neighborhood. They tear up the houses.
Okay. So, is it primary where you live or in just the entire area? Do you have a specific more than the other, or is it closer to some of those abandoned houses?
Let me ask,
or
how many people you all live in this neighborhood? Is anybody else experiencing like that rodent type?
Okay.
Right up on your porch.
And they're nocturnal animals, but they're running around in the daytime, which can be a problem where they can bite our children. You would, in time past, when you get an exterminator and they take them out of your house, it could be in your basement, it could be wherever, they will take those animals and they will take them to Chickasaw Park. They'll take them to Shawnee Park, and they will let them loose, and then they find their way back. in this area, but the houses that are not abandoned is what I am very concerned about. Very concerned about that. Should not be able to come out on your porch, but you have clean, made sure, you know, everything's up to par, and it's sitting there. And these things, they're not regular sizes, they're big as dogs. Ones have even seen them on 18th Street. I don't know what the borders are, but I mean, they just run around.
But you're right on
like-
26, so
like-
you're in this cluster.
Yeah, I'm on 26, but you can see them, you know, even on Dixie High. I mean, you just see them everywhere. It's not,
If you can give me, because this is how Metro government works, right? Okay, so all of this is my area, right? So when you go down by Mika's restaurant right down here on 26, as soon as you pass her up, coming down past that church, that's my district.
Okay.
But after it passes her street, down to just this side. The opposite side is
So
not
this
mine.
side- this side of
this side is
Broadway,
mine.
yeah.
That side's not
Yeah.
mine. Going all the way down to Broadway, that's not mine,
Yeah.
right? But I still help, right?
Right.
But I have to have an address. I can't send them like if I put
To
in a
an
call,
area.
they gonna say, well, where's that? Where's the concern at? That's how they
14
take.
South 26.
So one
Okay.
block over.
Right,
Oh.
right.
So is this one of those situations like if more people called and said,
Well, yeah, and if you call, we document it, we put it in the computer, and we send it, right? And then we follow up. We follow up, right? And they'll say, well, we came out or we didn't see anything, or if you see something, I seen it again, we're gonna call them back again. You know, but they're gonna move quicker for us than they
would
will you
for
all,
you.
right? But we have to be able to document it. So anyway, the third time, then if I have to pull up over, which that's what I do, I'm gonna pull up. So if I come out there and I sit out there and I'm like, well, are they coming more in the daytime, nighttime, or whatever you like more at night? I'm gonna take the due diligence myself to come over, and then I'm gonna call the director in wee hours in the morning while I'm sitting over too.
Say,
and
I see it,
on their
yeah.
cell phone.
Okay. Well, I have a ring, a ring.
Where you see
Camera,
them, that's even better.
They
Yes, it
are,
is.
And like with the police, you know, there has been shootings like right outside my bedroom door. And it shattered my window front, shattered the storm door. You can still see holes in my pillars and in the different parts of my house. So we, as community outreach, ones that have records and stuff, have cameras, are always available for the police to come. And anytime that the police need to look at our cameras, we do offer those services to the police. I think it's a good thing of wanting to have a neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
When I had called, and it wasn't this year, it was a couple of years ago, they said that they already had a neighborhood watch. I don't know
Where at?
what neighborhood watch in this area. So I don't know what kind of neighborhood watch that they have.
Ain't no neighborhood watch over here. I put signs up and down Olive Street and said it was a neighborhood watch, but that was me just saying it. Ain't no neighborhood watch. So I just put the signs up. I just paid myself out of my own pocket, you know, because I live on the street. I put signs up and down the street saying you are being watched, neighborhood block watch. Ain't no neighborhood block watch. Nowhere. So that's what I'm saying. Like we have to start. Yeah, we got to start that. And even if it was, where they at? Right? If it was one, where they at? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just feel like that you can call my office, or if you want to get with her, give her your address, and when she calls for her complaint, call for you. The more calls, the better. Because my aide is documenting every call that comes in.
I love
And if the department don't do nothing, then if I gotta pull up, which I don't have a problem, because I live right over here, you know, I'll give you all my cell phone number before I leave. You can call me personally. If I don't answer the phone, I might be busy. You can shoot me a text, and I promise you, you know, if you want me to come by or whatever the case may be, you know. But just because you spoke, and you know, I'll pull up at your house just to see, check on
Just to see the mess.
now, and just to check up on her.
Just to
period.
check up on
like
her.
I have constituents that when I canvass, I don't, you know, like I go see them. I just pull up, and be like, hey, I just came out to check on you today.
I love
just
that.
see what you, you know, see what you're doing, and it shocks people because they're like, who does it? But somebody who's supposed to be your voice and your vessel, and not just when
That's
for
right.
your vote.
That's right.
So I'm a little different. So you know,
I hear everything that you're saying. It sounds really good. But one of the things that Marcus said was that this community is in a spirit of hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think that they have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making my voice heard now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna go by how many people have called
Mm-hmm.
about the rodents.
well, it ain't really about how many people this calls. If every call comes to me,
Mm-hmm.
every call comes to me first, right? And then me, I call. I'm just saying if you're seeing them over on 18th Street, that's not my district.
Mm-hmm.
If you're seeing them on Dixie Highway, that's not my district.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying if those people in those areas are seeing it, then they need to contact their council person too, right? I work for you, right? I know he said it, but I'm saying it. You can call me personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and I ain't gonna toot my horn, but I am the truth. If I was you, I would be grateful to have a council person like me, because every council person ain't showing up because they ain't got to. Right? Its role is part
still
time.
getting paid.
I make my relationships personal with people. Right? Whatever your needs are, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it again. I'm there, if you allow me to be. Right? You know, but you have to give me the chance to take care of your needs. But you have to take the steps to call them in, because I can't just act off of like you just telling me today, right? I have to actually document it, because I've been going so hard the last 2 years that I've been in these spaces that these departments feel like that I am just picking on them at this point. So I have to be able to go back and say, no, this is the data that I collected, and actually I went after it myself. And actually these are the pictures that I've got. And I shouldn't have to do your job.
That's right.
And in the event that I got to do your job, then I need to be talking to the administration and getting them replaced.
That's right. Well, Tammy, I do thank you for your time. It's
Thank
been
you.
fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And here,
We
I'm going to give y'all
appreciate
my cell
honest.
phone number real quick. It's about, is
Wait.
this off?
Let's roll. Let's cut this off.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. You're coming out. Let's cut the air.
Okay.